So today we start our exploration of the city of Riga.
Riga, spelled R-I-G-A, 4 letters. Let's see what they stand for.
Riga was founded by crusading Germans who came to basically make all the pagan Baltic peoples become Catholic. That was the idea that started this city. Let's see if they've accomplished their goals. Let's see if this is a holy Catholic city, Peter.
Absolutely. Here we have a nice sort of Gothic-like church, brick again. Or it's actually, I would say, a Baroque church. So it's very interesting. Here we have it. Riga.
The yard is really beautiful.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's an amazing church. It's a very unique style too. I've never seen a church that looks like
Yeah. It's kind of mixing a bit of the Orthodox elements with kind of looking like a, I don't know what it looks like. It's something like a Disneyland Palace type thing on the top, and I nearly fell.
It looks almost like something you'd see in like a Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
Universe. You cut off the pointy bit at the end.
Yeah.
And look, there's another nice church directly across the street from it. Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah.
Recently, I was reading in my Facebook feed, one of my friends was talking about golden showers, and now here's golden coffee. She was advocating for it, if anybody's wondering. Now, look at this beautiful church now. This is the front view of the church we just saw from the side. And let's go inside. Hopefully it's unlocked. I noticed a lot of the shops and stuff here. It's Wednesday at like 11. But a lot of the shops aren't open. A lot of restaurants aren't open. A lot of stuff isn't open. There may be a holiday. Maybe there's a Latvian holiday going on right now. Couldn't say for sure. We're gonna try to go in the church though. Doesn't look promising. Doors are closed and nobody's going in and out. We're in a Protestant looking church now. Originally Catholic for sure. St. Patrick's Cathedral, was it?
St. Peter's Cathedral.
St. Peter's Cathedral.
What are you talking? Thinking Patrick would be.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, this is really cool. Like, look at all this stuff.
Yeah, you can see the beautiful tall vaulted ceilings of a Gothic style here. Quite incredible. Look how tall they are. Like by scale, just look at Lane. Have a look. I'm gonna zoom out.
And I'm 6'1". What is that in meters, Peter? How tall are you in meters?
183.
There you go. I'm probably 183, 184. This place was originally made by Baltic Germans. So we're back on that again. You see the death's edge right there? There's a lot of very, in American churches, just in general, you won't really see skulls and like bones and very like dark sort of artwork. You'll see much more uplifting, happier stuff. So it's very interesting going to a church. Even in Mexico, you'll see stuff like this. But in America, it's something that I've never really encountered. I've gone to a lot of church in a lot of places in America. But yeah, you don't really get skulls and bodies and, you know, the Grim Reaper and Devil. And I really like all this, like, I don't even know what you call them. They look like,
Coat of arms.
yeah, coat of arms, yeah. Like,
I'd say possibly they are the sponsors of this church and they would have paid to have their coat of arms put here. That's just my impression, but maybe I'm wrong.
that's a good guess. Johann Heinrich Halle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is just the names. He's from Lübeck. Yeah, I think you're right.
And so
82 years.
he
I
died.
think he was 82 years.
Yeah, they've been beautifully restored, I have to say. All of these things have clearly survived the war. What looks like the 12 apostles, I'm assuming, under the church, but it could be that they're patron saints also of the city.
Which one's Judas, Peter?
Judas, oh, maybe with the axe over there.
That one's got an X on that.
Yeah, so maybe, I don't know, Judas.
I don't think this is going to be the disciples because you see a lot of them have weapons, actually. I see spears, and I think that might be a sword, maybe, and there's axes.
Yeah.
I think, maybe I'm wrong. Let's go to the top. They have a thing to go all the way up, and you can view the city. Today it's very foggy, as you saw inside, but we're still going up.
Yeah.
It looks like it was a general, probably served the Russian army, but it does have German inscription. This city was, while being part of the Russian Empire, very much controlled by a German noble elite. So I have very strong suspicion this was an ethnic German serving the Russian Imperial Army.
Did he die in battle, Lane?
I don't know.
What's the significance of one leg raised by the horse? There actually is, but I don't know it. But
Yeah.
there is something to do with that leg. If the horse had all his four legs on the ground, it would be something else. So like, yeah, dying in battle and dying in your bed. There's a bit of a difference when it comes to tombs, I believe.
Well, we're up here at the top. It's going to be windy. I'm sure the audio is not going to be great quality on this, but the city is beautiful, even with a layer of fog over it. I think it kind of adds to it, you know. There is a lot of modern buildings now, but this city is a very old city. It is a very medieval city. And it kind of adds like a little bit of atmosphere to it, in my opinion, having this layer of fog. I know it probably translates even worse on camera, but for me, I think this is a really beautiful city from up here. All right, so when we were in the church, we asked the lady why there was no people out today. It's not because there's a holiday. It's not because there's a Wednesday half day like Peter kept saying, but it's because it's cold and because it's winter. That's what she said. I'll say this, when we were in Poland, even in small villages, there was a lot more people out relative to the size than this. So it's interesting. Maybe the Poles are a little bit hardier than Latvians, I'd say. It's not colder here. It's actually considerably warmer. Yeah. It's noticeably warmer, and there is much less snow out and ice. So there's that. What were you gonna say before you rudely interrupted me, Peter?
Well, before I started yapping, I noticed that the church we were in is called St. Peter's, and the top of that church is got a rooster on it. And of course, the story is that when St. Peter betrayed Jesus, he would hear the rooster crowing, or something like that in the morning, when he would know that Jesus would have been betrayed. So
he would deny Jesus 3 times.
Exactly.
And he heard the rooster each time.
Yeah, so hence I think that's why the rooster is on top of the church of St. Peter's. Good guess.
There you go. Well, we're about to check out the city's museum right here behind us. Extremely ornately decorated, very, very beautiful place. I really like this city a lot. You know, last time I was in Europe, I'll be honest, I didn't like it so much. I was a little bit bored, but I think it's just because I had, it was like a bit of an adrenaline crash, right? Coming from Ukraine and taking basically a vacation after that. So I really didn't give everything a fair shot. This time around, I'm really enjoying stuff a lot. But let me go into a little bit of detail right now. Directly behind me, you can see there's a Black Crusader. I think, yeah, he's a knight, he's in armor. So there's a Black Crusader knight, and there's a coat of arms with 2 black heads on it. This place is actually called Blackhead House. So it is now the city museum, but I think it maybe used to be the home of a Black Crusader knight, or it was dedicated to him, or it was some other like royal family's coat of arms had 2 black heads on it, like from Africa, black people's heads. But you can see there's definitely some sort of knight that inspired it, you know. So let's go inside, check out the city's museum, see what it's all about. It's a really beautiful building. This is awesome. It's really cool. Much like your local markets in Ireland, there is a view to the world down below, the past.
Looks like there's pillows down there. Then we can have a nap down there later.
You guys should definitely check out one of my Dublin videos where we see something exactly like this, but in Peter's local store that he shops at.
Yes.
Wait for him there if you're trying to find Peter.
Yeah. I'll be right next to the peanut butter.
Read into that what you will. What Peter may or may not do with dogs. All right, the people downstairs, some of the best salesmen I've ever met in my life. We walked in here expecting to take a tour of a museum of Blackhead House, where there's 4 more African characters right there, actually, in more traditional African dress too. I assumed they would have been some sort of Muslim, like people that they had come across during crusades or something along those lines. So they're probably from like Sudan or, you know, the Maghreb, somewhere along those lines. But that's just speculation. I don't know the story, but I guarantee it's gonna be an interesting one. And maybe some of those history YouTubers that I watch should get on that and make that, because it would be really cool to see. Anyways, they sold me some sparkling wine.
Yes. You're holding the cup. I would suggest you need to kind of hold slightly lower the glass down there, just kind of a more sophisticated manner.
I'm not sophisticated, I'm an American.
He needs to embrace.
I'm an American, I do it the free way, Peter.
So,
anyways,
like this.
Here we go. Peter has some coffee.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
To the King, Charles III. All right. It tastes as I would expect. I'm not a connoisseur of any alcoholic beverages. And in fact, I don't like to drink. But this is a beautiful place. Let's check it all out, Peter. What do you think?
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love all these big, cool...
Do you take any offense to these, what some might deem racist caricatures?
Well, it shows you that in this case, this kind of person would have been given the larger chair, whereas we would have been made sit on the smaller ones because they don't have our symbol on it.
Okay. Here's also a more like traditional African dress, which makes me think they might not have even been from like a Muslim part of Africa. This looks much more like actually traditional.
So you're using a coloring pencil now?
From the Free State of Missouri. That's all. Well, one thing very unfortunate that you have to keep in mind when you're visiting this place is actually in 1941, the entire building was burned down by the Germans who bombed it during Operation Barbarossa, the invasion of the Soviet Union. And then when the Soviets got back in control of it, they just demolished the building totally. It was rebuilt in 1996 to 1999. So it's a pretty new building actually, despite how it looks. They have a lot of prominent guests who come and visit here, like a delegation from Nigeria, amongst other people, like Germany's Führer. And now we descend into the depths of this place, of the black-headed house. Something that was on the Wikipedia page of this place, you know, may be disputable, but they claim to have the first ever decorated Christmas tree here in 1510. So in 1510, this was the site of the first Christmas tree decorated with ornaments, supposedly. Here is a bunch of medieval weaponry, or examples of it. I don't think they're originals. Maybe. Probably not, though.
I hope nobody comes and says, "Hey, you're not supposed to put this on."
You're probably not.
Yeah. Where's my page?
Put the hat on.
Hopefully it fits my big head.
You know who would be proud of you right now? That's the wrong kind of sword. You know who would be proud of you now?
Who? Bob?
Bob Packett.
Go on.
From History According to Bob.
Okay, go for the decapitation shot.
Are you sure?
No, I'm joking.
I'll do that.
Don't do that.
Here, put your arms up.
Yeah.
Up high. Put them above your head.
Don't go crazy. Come on.
Come on, put your arms up.
Don't hit me too hard. Oh. Here, this should go through.
No.
Here, sheathe it, Peter. You can tell Peter's done this before.
That's about, I'd say about 12 kilos worth of it.
You gotta set it up so it doesn't wrinkle, Peter.
I'm gonna iron it later.
Fold it nice and pretty.
It's beautiful.
Shows what kind of standards Peter has.
Yeah.
I assume this sort of subterranean structures are probably a little more original than the upstairs stuff that the Germans and Soviets got rid of. But maybe it all collapsed into here. I don't know. The Hanseatic League Woman Lady of Justice sure was for body positivity, huh, Peter?
Lady Justice.
How it used to look before the destruction. How it looks now.
Made with flowers? Or
It made spirit with the 24 different herbs and berries.
okay.
Do you mind if I video?
Oh, okay.
So
Your video? Oh.
Yeah. For
He's a
YouTube.
video channel.
Oh, okay.
Travel vlog.
We're gonna try some Riga Black Balsam, and if it's good, I'll probably get some as a souvenir. So let's try it out.
Cheers.
Приехал.
Rijeka. It's strong. For me, it's strong.
Okay, but you still
It's
be
good.
alive. It's good.
Yeah, it's good. It's definitely good.
It
And you said it was made out of what again?
It's okay. It's spirit with 24 different herbs and berries.
Yeah.
It's-
24 different herbs and berries. Yeah, it's actually really it's a really interesting flavor. It's not it tastes very different than what I'm used to drinking. So yeah, it's good. I definitely am gonna buy a bottle now. Yeah.
It's similar to if anyone's ever had Underberg, which is in Germany. It's kind of like, or Jägermeister. It's like a kind of a medicinal drink, I
But
suppose.
it was invented like a medicine
Yeah,
in
I
the
think
18th
that-
century, so
Yeah.
it
Okay.
could be used like medicine.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna go put all our souvenirs. We just bought a bunch in the car, and then we're gonna continue about Riga. Latvia is really nice. It's a really cool place. I think it's really working out to our benefit that it's kind of cool winter day, so a lot of people are just not out, and it's kind of got the city to ourselves. It seems like almost,
Yeah.
which is nice. I will say this church, the architectural design kind of looks similar to the other one. So maybe this is a uniquely Baltic or maybe even uniquely Latvian sort of church design. Maybe it's a Livonian order design.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Some Russian stuff.
Yeah, Russian stacking dolls. Well, YouTube doesn't like certain diseases that come from China to be discussed on YouTube. It suppresses videos in the algorithm. I'm sure we've said a lot of things already in this video that will suppress in the algorithm. But there's a pangolin, which is one of the things that is supposedly where the Chinese brought something 19 into this world from. Here's another church. We're gonna go inside of it, and it's got a pangolin outside. I wonder if that's new. I wonder if they put that in there post 2020. So we're inside this one. It definitely has a lot more seating. I think this one is probably an active church. I don't know if they use the other one, but it is obviously also used as a museum. You have the Germanic coat of arms up there on a lot of these again, but not as many as the other one, I think. I don't know if it's just because these ones didn't survive quite as long.
I think we've got some original stained glass windows over there, or restored ones. They're really nice.
Right there. And you can see next to it how that one has no stained glass, unfortunately.
They've left the original details of the vaults that were painted originally.
Oh yeah. This is a very bare bones sort of church, very minimalistic. Protestants are a simple people. Well, I think it's probably what what is it, Notre Dame in Paris is going to look like very soon when it reopens.
Well, as we've been exploring, Peter has asserted he thinks this is actively a Catholic church because there is the symbol of the Pope right there. I think that it's another Protestant church for various other reasons, but we don't know for sure. So if you guys know, the Cathedral of Riga, it would make sense that it is Catholic. I wouldn't be surprised if it was, but I don't think it is. So if you guys know, let us know down in the comments, or just Google it up and pretend like you knew. So we're here in the same church, and there's stuff regarding the black heads that we just came from. You guys just saw that. And we actually learn what the black head is all about. So it starts from an early saint, Saint Martyrs from Egypt, who was unfortunately martyred, and he was black, obviously. So it's really cool to see how this kind of history survived. In America, I don't think current political atmosphere would allow stuff like this to survive. So it's really cool to see it here.
Also, I guess you can see when we saw in the black heads, he must have been decapitated with it because he's blindfolded, and he's on top of the buildings. I think in Corsica as well. I think it's Corsica. St. Mauritius is also
Sardinia.
Or Sardinia, yeah. Sardinia has St. Mauritius as their symbol as well. So there you go.
Yep. So now we're on the sort of outside section of the church. Here they have, what is that?
I thought it was a cannon, but it's not. It's just like, it's pure, it's an iron steel thing.
All right.
With a head on top.
Here's a cannon though. They have a lot of like artifacts out here, just kind of outside in the elements because it is snowy and wet out, which is interesting. But you know, a lot of people put cannons. Oh wow, this is really cool. Look at this, and an old mortar. So very, very old mortar.
Peter the First of Peter the Great of Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. There's a Russian Tsar, his statue. Obviously, Riga has a lot of history behind it, starting with, there was a holy order that settled here. There was a lot of interaction with local pagans that existed here. The Hanseatic League, which would give it very strong Germanic connections that it would kind of maintain for most of its history until the Soviet Union. But then it became part of I think the Swedish Empire owned it, the Russian Empire owned it, Germans came through a couple times. It's just a lot of history and sort of a crossroads here in the East where a lot of different cultures came and sort of collided into one another. It started as a Catholic city. It became a Protestant city, as we see now. It was owned by Orthodox. It's just super interesting, super diverse sort of history here that you don't really get literally anywhere else, really. So I really enjoy this city. I like the history of it a lot. And there's a lot to see. I really enjoy coming to these churches and having basically a full museum. Very cheap to enter. It's just a few dollars and you get to see all this. So in this section of it, there's a huge amount of cannons, just cannons. There's a sea mine there. There's small, older cannons right there. Those look like almost medieval cannons. Those two right there, you see? Yeah. There's these cannons, and they have different seals on them. So everybody who made their cannons, they would always put their own unique mark to show, this is my cannon. This is strong. I stand behind what I made. And then they would also put a national seal on it. And most of these, it seems like they're Swedish cannons. Peter here spotted out the Swedish national coat of arms. Yeah, exactly. So it's really cool seeing all this stuff just in one place. Obviously, in America, we're not going to get a lot of Swedish history, just period. So it's really nice seeing this stuff. And it looks like there's, cannonballs here? So there's a corner filled with cannonballs.
That's mortar.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, look at this one. It's beautiful. It's got the actual, it looks like the cannoneer on the back of the actual cannon. He's carrying a ball. And then this guy...
It's like a king or something.
Yeah, a priest. Yeah, this one is definitely Regan again. Do you know?
And it's in German. So you can see kind of the history. Like I said before, this city was very much dominated by Germans throughout the majority of its history.
There's a black head on a cannon here.
Look,
Oh yeah, he's right.
right there.
So the same society would have made that, or sponsored it at least. Very, very cool.
And probably from the same foundry here,
Yeah.
because they had the same kind of back ends of them.
This is an awesome church. Like, it's a great museum / church.
I would say that it would be nicer if they illuminated this exhibit a little bit better, just because we're in a bit of a dark point.
I also do think it would be cool if they had a little bit more information out.
Yeah.
Like, you just kind of have to know what you're looking at, or you look it up, kind of. There's not a ton of information out here. There is some, like right here, I'm looking at a couple plaques, but it would be a lot cooler if they had more plaque information, or if they got like an audio tour, because it's a very, small place. It could give you, a 20-minute tour, and I think a lot of people would enjoy that. It's really beautiful. They're like, this is an awesome church. I definitely think Riga is a really interesting city so far.
Yeah.
So right here is a monument to the Latvian men who fought during the Russian Revolution. I assume these ones are not for independence, actually. They have the red star, they have stars on their caps. So I think these might be for the Soviet Latvians who fought for communist Latvia, but failed during the Russian Revolution, because they got their independence from Russia because of Germany taking it from Russia in World War I. But when Russia went into civil war, they broke free and they wanted to be independent, but a faction of them did want to join the Soviet Union as communists. And eventually they'd get their way. So now we're in the Latvian Museum of Occupation by the Soviets. We're gonna go and check this out. So during the Second World War, before the war actually started in earnest, the Germans and the Soviets came together and they made a pact. I'm sure many people who know anything about history have heard of it. It's known as the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. And usually it's focused on the fact that they split Poland in half. They decided, all right, this side of Poland goes to you, this side goes to you. But something that's a little bit lesser known is it actually also split all of Eastern Europe. So Finland, for example, was kind of thrown to the wolves in, the Germans gave the green light for the Soviets to attack them. They also gave the green light on Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia disappearing from the map, and Moldova being occupied by the Russians from Romania, who would later be a German ally, alongside Finland, actually. So, Germany in the start of World War II, maybe not the greatest ally to have, because they would kind of piece you out for their own benefit.
Noticing on top of the roof there, Lane, if you want to zoom in, it looks a bit like Greta Thunberg's mother if she had one.
She had a mother. She wasn't made in the tube.
She was lab born.
So, sort of in a history repeating itself sort of thing, when Russia took over Latvia, they forced everybody to give up their Latvian passport and take a Soviet passport, something that is now going on in southern and eastern Ukraine, and happened in Crimea. Here, open your passport, give your information to people. There you go, everybody. Peter doxed. During the occupation, the first mass deportation done by the Soviets deported 0.8% of the entire country's population. The second one they did deported 2.5% of the entire country's population. So the Soviets kept draining this country of its manpower. They kept sending them east into Russia to be re-educated, work as slave labor in gulags. And it's really sad, because this is another thing that we're seeing yet again done by the Russian state in Ukraine. They're deporting people away from occupied cities into Russia to kind of help Russia's bad demographic decline that they are going through right now.
It's a genocide.
Yeah, it definitely is. It is a total genocide. And like you can see here, sort of the route starting here in Latvia and going all throughout the Soviet Union, all across the east, particularly in Siberia, as kind of the mythos goes, the gulags of Siberia, and they were deported all over. And it's really unfortunate. It's really sad to see that literally huge chunks of the civilian population, because they didn't want to collectivize their farm, because they spoke Latvian instead of Russian, things like that, they were sent away.
Maybe people who were literate too. Anyone that could resist the communist regime, quickly silenced.
Yeah. And because of that huge repression of the Latvian people, it actually led to a lot of Latvians, Estonians, and Lithuanians joining the Germans during the Second World War. Some would fight the Germans and the Soviets equally. They would fight for an independent state. But more often than not, if you were a Latvian patriot, you would join the Germans, you would join the Nazis, and often you would join the SS because you saw them as a better alternative than the Russians, because the Germans had already a pretty big German population in the area. They were not the nicest people, obviously, to these countries, but they weren't as bad to them as they were to other places like Belarusians, Ukrainians, Polish, for example. So a lot of Latvians, because of the horrible way that they were treated by the Soviets, saw Nazi Germany as a better alternative, which really says something about the conditions that they had to live in and the basically 3 years of Soviet occupation before the war started for them. Unfortunately for a lot of these people, after having collaborated with Nazis during the Second World War, there was going to be no place for them in the Soviet Union, and they knew that. So in order to kind of preserve their life and also fight for national sovereignty and independence, post-World War II, they would go out into the forests and they fought a guerrilla war there for many, many years against the Soviets, fighting for their independence. Here you see a bunch of them with Sturmgewehrs, German assault rifles, and Russian PPSHs. And these men went out into the woods and they just lived out there fighting for Latvian independence and fighting for national character and, sovereignty.
So here you can see that the prisoners that were in the Gulag, they weren't even given a name. They were only identified as their number, and that's what they were referred as. Nobody called you like Lane or Peter. You would have been called 358
In Russian.
in Russian.
Here's a brief, somebody's suitcase that they turned into a chessboard to kind of entertain themselves while in the gulags, because obviously entertainment was limited.
Yeah, it's kind of like a macabre, almost like the trench art that you see in World War I. People kind of filled in their time when they weren't able to be outside working.
Another big part of the ethnic cleansing of places like Latvia during the Soviet Union wasn't just the removal of the population that lived there, but also the importation of people from other Soviet states into here. And they would all obviously have to speak Russian as their common language, and so they would become sort of a Russian ethnically. Even if they might have been Kazakh originally, they would become Russian because they could only speak Russian mutually with other people. And it sort of led to, I think now the population is 20% Russian, which, obviously there's no problem with them being here. I don't think they should be sent away or anything. But it was an example of how Russia was systematically, ethnically cleansing these countries, these Baltic states, Ukraine, Belarus, and the others in Central Asia and the Caucasus as well. They were ethnically cleansing these countries in order for everybody to become sort of a homogenous Russian identity over time. So some of the first states to actually break away from the Soviet Union when it collapsed were these Baltic states, because they were the ones who had the strongest national identity. They had been independent most recently, and they had been getting genocided, so they wanted free. There's actually a shirt here in German, Freiheit für Lettland, freedom for Latvia, sorry. And the reason is because there used to be a very large German-speaking population here. Post-World War II, most of them got deported into Germany and Austria. So unfortunately, that part of the history is also pretty much gone at this point. But, they were the leaders. They were the countries that broke the Soviet Union when they went for their independence. If it wasn't for them fighting for it, other countries would not have followed. And right here, Mix the bear is their national sort of revolutionary mascot.
I think. Oh. There you go.
And there you can see Meeks the bear at the barricades, fighting for justice and liberty and independence.
And here's a big Russian soldier eating all the Latvian porridge.
While sitting on and oppressing the state in his drunken state.
I don't know what town he's sitting on, but they're very much suppressed right now. Yeah.
That's right, Peter. All right, province, Latvian cuisine. This is gonna be the restaurant that we come and we try some Latvian food. All right, guys, our food is here. Peter got a bread bowl. He's been talking about them nonstop for like a week now, or however long he's been here. So I'm glad he found his bread bowl. And he got dumplings. Yes. And we got kvass. And I got beef stroganoff. Drink kvass.
What did I say? I can't remember. I forgot that word.
Booga booga. Tastes like bread.
It's actually not bad. It's nice. It's actually not bad.
Yeah, it's weird. It tastes like bread.
But it's nice. It's not, you know, it's not, it's refreshing. It's not, it's just stick in your throat. It's good.
As an American, I think you'll find it weirder than Peter. Now you eat something else, Peter. Quickly. Hurry, Peter.
Okay, I'm gonna try a quick dumpling here. Really good.
Take a giant bite of bread straight off the lid.
I'm gonna dip my lid into this soup. Oh, really good.
How's the bread?
Excellent. You want to bite me?
No. All right. Here's some beef stroganoff on mashed potatoes. This is great. Oh man. The meat's consistency is perfect. It's like a great roast beef. Really, really rich flavors. Like it's really good. It's a really complex flavor. I really enjoy it. This is great. This is the best beef stroganoff I think I've ever had. And that's saying something because I've had a lot of good beef stroganoff in my day. This is really good. I generally prefer it over noodles, but this is a good presentation. You know, it makes sense. This is how they eat it here, and I like it. I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, it's excellent. Good presentation. The food is very good, tasty. Yeah, overall, very good impression of Latvian cuisine.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of kvass, the bread drink, but Peter likes it. So, you know, it's hit or miss. Come and try it out. You're here. You might as well try their local stuff out. You know. I would actually have liked to stay a little bit longer in Riga. I kind of wanted to go to a couple more things, but unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do that today. I really enjoyed our time here in Riga. We were mostly in museums, which I know doesn't make for the best videos, but it is, you know, we're on a little bit of a vacation, so that's just kind of what it is. That's what we're doing. It's just life.
That's it.
I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And tell me, do you guys like when Peter comes and is part of my videoing experience? This is his third time.
Yeah, I might be a bit controversial for you guys, but I hope you can understand my accent okay, and I don't stir too many tensions in this videos.
Yeah, hopefully not. He is a lot more controversial than me and Justin.
Pretty much, yeah. It's definitely, they have to restrain me sometimes.
Well, guys, that's going to be it from here in Latvia. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm feeling patriotic, so I got a sucker. Let's see what flavor this is going to be. I'm guessing raspberry.
I lost mine, so Lane will have to share me his.
That's disgusting, Peter. I think it is raspberry. I don't know.
Let me taste.
Gross. Get that nastiness out of here.
Well, my Irish tongue.
Yeah, exactly. Peter, show them what you got just now in the shop. Pull it out. Peter, when we were in America, as you guys have seen in the other series, Peter fell in love with root beer. And that's an unending love that will never die.
Sadly, it's become an addiction, and now in my fridge in Dublin there's like 6 cans. Oh, there is basically always a supply of root beer in my refrigerator in Dublin. It's like part of my daily routine. I will have a root beer after work every single day.
Hey, it's better than most Irish. They'll have 12 beers after work every day.
That's true.
So, you know, it could be worse.
Yeah. It leads to less domestic abuse for sure.
All right. Like, comment, subscribe. Goodbye.